Practice test of your test tomorrow. First part, a lot of times, the only times people get this wrong is they forget to do 3 numbers, like it says. The pattern is it goes down 3 each time. So the next number would be -8. Okay. Divide by 3 each time. So when you take 1 and you divide by 3, 1/3. Now what's 1/3 divided by 3? 1/9. And then 1/27. So what happens is you just put 1 over this, 1 over that, 1 over that, and so on. This one goes up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so it'd be 35 next. 12 would be 47. 14 would be 61. Now this is from your assignment, and when we did these I told you it'd be on the test. We had a picture of a plane with a line on the plane and a line cutting through the plane and a point on the plane. So, 2 intersecting lines. Remember when you name a line, how many letters do you use? 2, not 3. So like this line, you could call it many different things. BY, YC, or BC, it doesn't matter. But since it's a line, you do got to put the line symbol above it. So it'd be line BC, and this one you could call either ZY, YX, or XZ, it doesn't matter. Any 2 letters on it. So remember to label it as a line. Okay. 3 collinear. Remember what collinear means? On the same line. So there's 2 answers. You could either do B, Y, and C or X, Y, and Z. They're both correct. X, Y, and Z. So remember, this is kind of a technicality. Since they're points, you should put commas, because if you put 3 points, that's meant to represent a plane. So, not that big of a deal, but just try to remember to put the commas in there. 3 non-collinear points. X what? X, B, and C would work. It's just any 3 points not in a line. There's more than one answer. X, B, Z, B, Y, A, X, A, Y. Any 3 points not in a straight line. 4 non-coplanar. Remember what coplanar means? Same plane. So non means not in the same plane. Z, X, B, and what? A would work. Z, X, B, and C would work. 4 that wouldn't work are obviously B, Y, C, and A. And this is the one a lot of people put. These 4 are coplanar, even though it's not shown in the picture. Because remember when I showed you this? B, Y, and C are all in a straight line. So you could put a plane through it, and then you could tip it up until it hits X. So those 4 are coplanar. So you can't put those 4. So make sure when you pick 4 points, they're scattered. 3 of them can't be in the same line. Okay, find the length of a segment. Remember what you use to find the length?
Distance formula.
Distance is x minus x squared, y minus y squared, square rooted. So, x minus x squared plus y minus y, remember they're alphabetical, x, y, x, y. And then some of you before forgot that you got to square root it at the end. -2 take away 1 is -3. But remember, it's always positive. So just disregard it. When you subtract, if you get a negative, just drop it off. So this is 3 squared plus 4 minus 3 is 1 squared, square rooted, is square root of 10. 3 squared is 9, 1 squared is 1. So you just leave it square root of 10. Number 9, x minus x squared plus y minus y squared, square rooted. Negative 1, take away 2 is negative 3, so just drop that off and do 3 squared. 0, take away a negative 4 is 4 squared, and then you square root it. This is 9, this is 16, so that adds up to 25, which is just 5. This one is a perfect square. The equations, yeah, will be given to you on the board. Okay, now a midpoint is just the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So you add them. Distance, you subtract them. Now remember, this is a point. So when you find it, you got to put parentheses around it. So we take 5, x plus x, 5 plus negative 3 divided by 2, and 0 plus negative 5 divided by 2. 5 plus negative 3 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. 0 plus negative 5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5. Again, if you don't put parentheses around it, you get a point off. Because it is a point, it's a coordinate. So for this one, x plus x divided by 2, y plus y divided by 2 is, that's 2 divided by 2 is 1. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So 1 over 0 up is the midpoint. X plus x divided by 2 and y plus y divided by 2. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2, divided by 2 is 1. They were all 1. And 5 plus negative 1 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. So there isn't any of those harder ones where they gave you an endpoint, the midpoint, and you had to find the other endpoint. It's just the basic, find the midpoint ones. All right, remember what it means to bisect. Cut in half. Which means each of these are the same. This angle would equal that because it's cut in half. So in order to find what x is, what do you got to do with these? Make them equal. 3x plus 13 has to equal 5x minus 7. So when you're solving equations and the x's are on opposite sides, you got to get them together. So again, it doesn't matter which one you move. I always move the smaller one over. So remember, when you're moving them to other sides, you do the opposite. Since it's a plus 3, I would have to subtract 3. And that would give 5x's minus 3x is 2x. Drop the equal sign down. So then you got to get the non-x's to the opposite side. Since it's a minus 7, I would add 7. And you get 20. Divide by 2, divide by 2, and you get 10. And you could check it if you plugged it in. 3 times 10 is 30, plus 13 is 43. 5 times 10 is 50, minus 7 is also 43. 3. They're the same. It's funny how sometimes these the colors are so much brighter. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Look at how much brighter these colors are compared to some of the other documents. I've never been able to figure out why that is. So, same thing here. They're the same problems. This ray bisects this angle, which means this angle has to equal that angle. So get the x's together on the same side. If I brought the 4x over here, I'd have to subtract it. So that would make 11 x's. Remember, the equal sign goes straight down. Bring the non-x's to the other side. It's a minus, so I'd do the opposite because you're going to the opposite side. You'd add 25. 88. So then I would divide by 11, and you get 8. So in these problems, they're 4 individual problems. Sometimes people think it carries over. For example, here it says it's 53. So sometimes people get confused and think it's 53 for these too. You guys all understand that they're just 4 separate problems? Okay. So since 7 is 53, what's 9? 53. Right. Because remember, what are those angles called? What someone said it. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are.
I was thinking of water boy girl's name that got hit, but
okay. If 8 is 103, then what's 6? 103. Also 103 because those are vertical. If 9 is 136, what is 8? Because together these form a straight line. Now, do you remember what those are called when they're next to each other? They are adjacent, but when they form a straight line, they're straight. They are supplementary, a linear pair. So they're adjacent, they're supplementary, they're called a linear pair because they make a straight line. You'll need that for the next page. And then here, 6 is 51. So 7 is 129 because they got to add up to 180. Okay, so this is where you need to know what these are. Linear pair, vertical angles, or neither. So when you look at the picture, angle 5 and angle 4 they're not vertical because they're not across from each other.
neither.
They are adjacent, but they're not linear. See, because they don't form a straight line. So it's neither. Okay, angle 2 and angle 5 are vertical because they're across from each other. They're 2 straight lines that intersect. Angle 1 and angle 2. Those are a linear pair because they make a straight line.
Neither.
4 and 1
Neither.
are neither. Some people might think it's vertical because they are across from each other, but they're not straight lines, right? This one is a straight line, but this one is not. Okay, then the last one, we don't have any of the stuff we did yesterday because that comes up later in the book. Now, remember, when you're solving these, it's either one of 2 things. They're either equal to each other, or in this case, they'll add up to 180. So look at the letters. See, here we've got a Y there and a Y there. So these either add up to 180 or they're equal. What are they? Equal. So that's your equation. 5y plus 10 equals 6y minus 2. So you got to get the y's together on one side. So since it's plus 5y and you're bringing it over, you subtract 5y and you get just a y. Remember, the equal sign drops straight down. So get the non-y's over here. It's a minus 2, so you'd add 2. And you get 12, and you're done because the y is by itself. Y is 12.
I need to find x.
Then you got to find x.
2x plus 40.
So 2x.
What do you know about this angle?
Equals 110.
It equals 110. 2x plus 40 has to equal 110 because they're vertical. So, get the x by itself, so you subtract 40.
Yes.
And then divide by 2.
No. No.
35.
Yeah.
So this one had vertical angles. This one, here's the x's and here's the y's. The x's are not across from each other, they're a linear pair.
So then they equal 180.
So they add up to 180. So 11x plus 16 plus 8x plus 12 has to equal 180. So remember, when you do this, you could just skip writing it all down and do it in your head. Combine the x's. 11x and 8x makes 19x's. The 16 and 12 makes 28. Has to equal 180. So subtract 28. And then divide by 19. And that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Did anyone do
Yeah,
it?
it's
That is
It's
8.
8. So then you have to do the same thing for the y's. The y's add up to 180. So again, you can just add these together right away by looking at them. There's 3y's and 5y's makes 8y's. There's a 13 and a minus 1, which makes
12.
plus 12. Has to equal 180. So you subtract 12.
21.
Is that what it is, 21?
Yeah.
Divide by 8. There.
Isaac, do you remember this guy
I
from
was
the
a
last time?
bad.